And welcome back, students. As we continue our diving into that of inner classes, today let's discuss the class file for an inner class. This is actually going to be a really quick, really brief lesson. So it's just going to help clarify a couple things before we dive more into other things relating with inner classes. So, if you recall, if we get started here with today's lesson, when you compile any class in Java, it produces a class file. All right. It also may have your .java file, which is of course where your code is. The class file is what the Java compiler actually uses. When you compile a class with an inner class, this compiles both the outer class and the inner class. It actually will produce two .class files. Yeah, two class files. So for example, when we compile the class bank account, this produced the following two class files: bank account.class and bank account $ money class. No, it's not a dollar sign because it's money. That's just the delimiter, the character that Java uses to help indicate that it's an inner class. Don't just think because it's money that it's a dollar sign. You could use any other like inner class, if you will, and you'll get kind of a similar result. In fact, if we look over here in our example here, here's my bank account, and if I look in the source folder here or the binary file, here's the bin. You can see here's my bank account $money.class. bank account.class, and here's the demo. Of course, if we look in the source folder here, here's only the two Java files. So it only has two Java files. There's only two files that I created, but when I compiled those, you can see that it created three files. All right, and that's how Java is going to handle them. Now, if we had made, let's say, two inner classes, then we're going to end up making three class files. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you had, four inner classes, you'd have five .class files, etc., etc. So there's a pitfall I'm going to caution you here in today's lesson about inner classes here, and there are other uses. So in the previous lesson, we used an inner class in pretty much just one way, namely to create and use objects of an inner class from which the outer class can, use definitions of. That's about the only way we've used it. We haven't really made it so it's like publicly accessible. There are other ways to use those inner classes that I've alluded to before, but again, if you remember, they involve subtleties. Now, if you're being a curious person and wanting to know if you want to use those inner classes in these other ways, we're going to actually explore that in the next lesson. We're going to start getting into some of those more intricate ways of how to use things besides just when it's a private inner class. But that's going to wrap up today's notes. Again, I told you it was a really short one. So we will see you next time.